Hi there, it's Stacy Peterson, funny motivational speaker, and today is a part of my Speaker Sunday series where I help fellow speakers and also other artists, comedians, performers, musicians, whoever, really try and get the gig to be able to make a living doing your gifting and what you love by being hired for events. And today we're going to talk about an online booking platform called The Bash. Now, some of you may or may not have heard about The Bash. The Bash, like I said, it is an online booking platform where it connects you with potential clients of them looking to hire someone like you. And so you have a profile, you have samples or videos, those kinds of things, your bio, your description, so that people can connect with you if they feel that you're a right fit for the event that they're putting on. Now, I personally, this is how I started getting paid professional events was actually through the Bash, and it was formerly called Gigmasters. And I still use Gigmasters to this day. I've made a really decent amount of money off of it through the years that I've used it. It is now not the main source of my leads or my income, but in the beginning, it was. And so I've learned a lot about the do's and don'ts on the Bash that aren't easily obvious. And I have had people say to me, well, I'm on the Bash and I've never been hired. So that's what I'm going to address today. If you are on the Bash and you have never been hired, you may be doing one of these things because these are the things that you're doing wrong. So the very first thing I'm going to start with is your profile picture. Okay. If your nephew in the basement took a shot of you and you've got that up there on the Bash's profile, or it was taken from the back of an audience with you 5,000 feet ahead, barely seen, then you will not get the event. And here is why. Your profile picture is your first introduction to the person who is hiring for whatever event, whether it is a mom for a birthday party or a corporate meeting planner with a $10,000 budget. Okay, if they can't see you clearly, or your photo is not great, then you're not going to come across as professional. The second thing about your profile pic is that it may be too predictable, meaning that it looks like everybody else's in your genre. So for me as a speaker, I see a lot of LinkedIn gray background, boring business headshots, and they all look the same generally. Only now with AI, everybody just looks better, right? But they all still have the same kind of feel. And so my particular photo on my profile has a distinct pop of color, is simple and clean and easy to see so that it stands out from the rest of the profile pictures in the crowd, so to speak. What you want to remember when people are scrolling through any kind of online booking platform, whether it's through a bureau, or it's like through the Bash, is they're just seeing tiny little thumbnails. And if it's cluttery, if it's not clean and simple, then they're just going to keep on passing. It's just like a dating profile pic. Okay. There's certain ones that pop, and the ones that pop usually are a little bit different, and they're a better quality photo as well. The other thing too is if you are a band or you are a multi-act that is on the Bash and you're trying to shove all of you in that profile pic, I mean, your typical band photo, let's be honest, if there's five of you, you're a five-piece band. You've got the person right here, and then you've got the V with the two people on the side, and it's a standing shot of all of you. And that is actually a terrible profile picture. When you think of how small it is, we can't see your faces. All we see is a bunch of legs and stuff, and it doesn't look good. So we need something that shows your faces again. And also be careful of your background, that, you don't have trees growing out of the back of your head. It's not messy. It's just, again, it's very simple and clean. And then It should have a little personality. Now, you are being hired as a professional performer, artist, speaker, whatever. And the reason I say that is that if you get the gig, you will get a paycheck. The difference between a musician who is a professional and a regular musician is simply that it is a paycheck, because a musician without a paycheck is not a professional. It's a hobby. Okay. It's not a career. It's a hobby if there's no money involved. So with professionalism, you want to keep that in mind. Even though you're being creative and you're showing personality, you want to know what your client is looking for in regards to what still keeps it professional. So there was a time where there was a certain person's profile picture where he was in a bathtub with a beer and I think a toilet, or maybe he was on the toilet. I don't remember. Okay, he is not going to get hired unless it is a very specific club that is looking for that type of humor. Uh, and he's going to get X'd out of 90% of people looking, no matter how good of a comedian he is, based on the lack of professionalism of his photo. So you got to keep that in mind, that yes, you are an artist, you are a performer, you have a voice and edge, whatever, but it still needs to be professional. The second thing is that your assets, in addition, whether that is your sound, audio, or your video, are not there or not good. So, the number one thing with a video is sound. It is the sound quality. I don't care what they can see. If the sound is muffled or off or terrible, they will automatically think you're not good. It is better for you not to put up a video with horrible sound quality than it is for you to have one with terrible sound. Okay. The second thing, again, with the videos is you're going to want to keep a couple things in mind. Once again, it's your personality, it's who you're selling to. So, if I'm selling to a group of kids, I'm not going to have anything with foul language at a concert that I did at XYZ as a part of my video. Because obviously, it's not, that doesn't reach my client's needs and it doesn't fit. It's not a fit for my client. So you need to know who you are selling to and cater that video a little bit to them. And then again, with the video, it needs to be clean a little bit visually. It's okay to have crowd. In fact, it's probably wanted if you have crowd entertainment or engagement in that video. But if we can't see you at all and all we see is other people's like hands or faces or whatever, that's like a short clip you could put in there, but that is not an entire video that you should have up. The other thing is a lack of testimonials. So if you don't have any testimonials, any social proof of any kind that you're decent, then that can be a problem. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have testimonials directly through the bash, especially if you're like, I've been on the bash, I've never gotten hired, how can I get a testimonial? Well, it's very simple. If you're performing for somebody else and they loved it, you just simply say, "Hey, do you mind giving me a testimonial?" And you could do one of a couple of things. One can be a written testimonial where you're like, "Could I just email you and ask you for a testimonial?" And they'll say yes. And so you just email them and say, "Hey, do you mind giving me, a 3 to 5 sentence testimonial?" And then sending it back to you. Now, obviously, it's not going to be an official testimonial on the bash because it's not through their platform, but it can definitely be in your profile, in like where your bio is. The other thing is video testimonials. Those are hugely important and very helpful. It's the same thing. Somebody loves you. You can have someone snap a video saying about what they loved about whatever it is that you did and have those up there as well. I'm going to say that one of the reasons you're not going to get hired, one of the number one reasons, other than looking professional or looking like you actually got a handle on what you're doing, is you talk way too much about yourself. So everything in your profile and on your photos and how you quote people is all about you. And here's the thing, your client doesn't care. The person looking to hire you does not care that you have 15 albums. They don't care that you toured with so and so. They don't. Okay. All they care about is what you're going to do for them in their particular event. And there are two things. There are things they're afraid of. There's the fears that they have about bringing anybody in. And the other is the wishes, the desires that they want and what they're hoping for in the person that they bring in. So if I'm working with kids, let's say I'm a mom and I'm hiring for a kid's birthday party and I'm on the bash and I'm looking. And one of the first fears I have as a mom, which I am, is I don't want to hire a pedophile. Okay. So if there's any weird, creepy pictures or I just get a weird vibe, I don't want that person. Okay. The second is that they're actually not cheesy, that they're more in tune and relatable with kids these days who are when you're competing against things like TikTok and all of that. So if it's a 12-year-old birthday party of girls, are they going to like what you do? Like, are you good at it? Or are you going to show up and overact and overdo stuff that's just doesn't land anymore? Like it's too dated. So I want to make sure you're going to connect with my audience. I also don't want to deal with someone who's going to show up late. That's a fear. If you're going to show up late, if you're going to do a bad job, if you're unprofessional and you suck, these are all fears that I have of hiring you. Okay. The wants that I have is for my 12-year-old daughter to have the best event ever and for them to be so enthralled that you're all they talk about when you leave. Okay. That's what I want. If your profile is all about you and your accolades and what you've done, I don't care. I want to know, are you going to do a good job? Like, are you a pedophile? How do I know? Oh, you have event liability insurance and you have a background check and you have X, Y, and Z. Okay. That alleviates the fear. You have a video of you with 15-year-olds at a youth event. Okay. Well, now I know you're applicable. Okay. For that age group, you've alleviated that fear. And then I find out that you made 15 albums and you've toured with so and so. And what you gave that audience was so amazing that you're now going to bring it to my own little special birthday party. Okay. That's what I care about. So if your profile and your quotes are listing your achievements, how many events you've done, what your training is, and all of that stuff, and it has nothing to do with my desires or my fears, I'm not going to hire you because I don't know. I don't trust you yet, and you're not answering any of my questions. So to me, that's one of the biggest things is this just you. Okay. The next one is that you don't understand your client's needs. And that's piggybacked based right on what I said about uh of like alleviating fears that your clients will have and helping them understand what it is that you will do for their event. And that can be how people will feel, the things that they'll learn, what they'll walk away with. It depends on what your art form is that you're doing, that you're selling. You're the service on the bash. Um, when you do that and you address the client's needs, that's really, really important. And there are certain ways to do that as well, even though you don't get a ton of information that comes in on inquiries on the bash. Being able to read between the lines a little to understand what kind of budget they have without having to ask and what their desires are is it's kind of in the details, reading a little bit between the lines of what's in there and what's not. And then asking to learn more about their event, asking what their goals and their takeaways are if that's not clearly stated. The other thing about not getting hired is that you have not differentiated yourself or really stumbled on your own uniquity. And what I mean by that is that thing about you that is different, that is unique, that only you can provide. Now, what I mean by that isn't just, like I said, you said, don't talk about you. Um, that uniquity that you're going to bring so that you can provide blank for the audience. So if I'm looking at 17 magicians, why do I choose you over every other magician? It's not because you've done 15 times the events, okay? It is because something you're going to say in your profile, your bio, that you're going to literally capitalize on that is strictly you. So maybe you have a positive message through it. Maybe it's a personal story that you interweave. Maybe it's the way you approach magic that's different. You need to have something that differentiates you in the marketplace. So rather than saying, I'm a comedian, or we're a band, or I'm a musician and I can sing and bring you music, so can a lot of other people. What do you specifically provide that nobody else can? And if you don't know that yet, that's something that you really need to focus on for your marketing. Because as a performer, you are your business. And you need to know it's not just because, well, I'm a really great singer. Well, there's a lot of really great singers, there's a lot of really great speakers. When it comes to speakers, it's their particular messaging and the style of which they deliver that is different than everybody else on the planet. And why that matters then goes back to the client's needs. I can reach your attendees, your audience, the people at your party in a way nobody else can because and that's for you to figure out. If you don't know, then you really need to think about that. What is it? Again, your absolute uniquity. If you're not even sure where to start, just start by asking your friends. Just be like, what is it like for real that's different about me when I perform than you see in everybody else? And if they can't differentiate it, uh, or they're just like, oh, you're good, then you actually need to develop yourself more as an artist, then so that you can find your own voice because you're blending in too much. You really need to be able to stand out and be able to present that. So the other side of that is then knowing who your audience is, the right audiences for you. So if you're a magician and you love working with 12-year-olds, but you get an inquiry for a bunch of soldiers who are wounded, who have just escaped battle, and you're going to come in with the same content, that's not your audience. You don't know how to win them over. You don't know their journey. The same material is not going to work. And a lot of that comes from trial and error. You're going to fail and not fail. You're going to get in front of an audience, it's going to go beautifully, and then you'll get in front of another audience and it's awful and you hate it and they hate you and it just was not a go. And it really takes the reps on stage or just the events themselves for you to help narrow down, this is my audience. Because when you know who your audience is, you can then tailor because you know their needs now. You know what you bring different, because you understand who your audience is and again, what it is that you bring to them specifically. So you need to know what's unique about you and you need to know who your right audience is. And that is all a work in process, again, that comes from the reps of just doing it over and over again as an artist, whether that's paid or not paid. The other thing that you may not be getting hired from is because you didn't do a good job and you have a negative review. So with that, you can order your reviews on the Bash and what people see, and you can also respond. Don't respond to a negative review as a jerk, because now it's a negative and a negative, and a negative and a negative never make a positive, okay? But you can address, like you could stand up for yourself and explain like what parts went well, what parts different, and offer to make it up to them and be very respectful and polite and professional and how you respond because will be visible to everyone. The other thing too with is that you're just not clear at all of what you do when it comes to your profile page. Like if you do 100 million things, we don't know what that is. Okay. If you do weddings and you do funerals and you do corporate Christmas parties and you do bar mitzvahs and you do like it can be really overwhelming. I'm not saying you can't do all those things, but if you specialize, you have a lane, you specialize in something particular, and I have that event, I'm going to go to you more than I am people who do a million things. So I'm, and in real life, I am a comedian, I am an actor, and I am a speaker. So, but how I market myself is I am a funny motivational speaker. That's what I do. I don't market myself as an actor. I don't market myself as a comedian because people don't know what to do with me. There's too many options. What I do and what I love and what I've done well is be a funny speaker. Why? Because most speakers aren't funny. It utilizes my comedy background and motivational because of my story and also my ability to perform. So that makes me unique. That's why I'm different than all the other speakers. So
And
when
so
it comes to that, I suggest that as you're working with audience, you start to choose a lane, basically. You can, again, still do the other things, but really hone in and specialize on a certain thing. It's just easier to market, very much easier to market. And then again, just the overall feel of your um, profile, the way all of it looks together, the way all of it is worded, and the time it takes you to respond. And then, of course, your response. If there's a lack of professionalism, of timeliness, any kind of difficulty understanding any of the elements, like they don't understand your bid, they don't understand what it is you do, things like that, you're going to get pushed aside. So you need a very clear offering, and everything all the way through needs to have a blend of professionalism, including every time they contact you. So every time they contact you, don't be one of those people who's like, I'll get back to them later. They can wait. No, this is a business. So most people in business expect a response within 7 minutes. And a lot of people who respond first to the gig get the gig. So really being timely about doing that. The other reason you may not be getting hired is you're using an automated response that is not tailored to each individual request. It also could be that you do not have a follow-up system, that once you send the quote, you expect that to be enough. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. There should be some follow-up with that as well. So if you're not getting hired, these are some of the things that you may want to go back and look through is, are you clear on who you are? Are you clear on who your audience is? Do you have a professional look, a professional level, decent assets? Everything that you're communicating have to do with them, or is it strictly about you? Um, and one last thing, too, if you've made it this far, is don't confuse your client with your fans or your audience. Your client is the person with the paycheck, okay? Your client is hiring you to do something for whoever it is that they're responsible, the kids at the birthday party, the wedding, the event, the conference, okay? They're hiring you for them. Um, they are the client. They are who you are trying to please. And the way you please them is by being able to reach an audience in a unique and special way and have them feel, learn, do whatever it is that you offer a specific way for when it's done, and that you're the right person for that job. I do have my exact sales process that I use on the Bash word for word. I do have that available. It is for sale. I don't give that for free because at some point you'll be a competitor and I'm probably going to lose money to you if you do my sales process. But again, I've learned really how to respond, the exact wording that I use, my exact system of how I get the gig. I lay everything out for you. I show you my emails. I show you my bid. I take you through my profile, why I say what it is, the way that I say it. And there is a link below that is through boringtosoringspeeches.com. You can check that out. And if you are new to the bash and you're like, do I do it? Do I not? It's been worth it to me price wise. I do have an affiliate link below if you'd like to sign up. I have big plans for all 50 cents I'm going to make off you. Uh, that affiliate link. But I'm just kidding because you don't really make that much off an affiliate link. But anyways, it is there. But make sure if you're going to go ahead and do the bash that you do know who you are as an artist, you know who your market is, and you have some of those things right from the get-go to put up and out with videos and photos so that you can get booked. So again, links are below. If you want to hear more about having a living as a paid performer, artist, speaker, then please click subscribe. And I release lessons for that specifically on my Speaker Sundays.